what I really want to tell parents is to really set yourself aside as a parent. As a parent, you have to look at this child, love this child, learn this child, and give him everything that they need to hone their purpose in life.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another transparent episode of the See-Through Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Johnson, and I am slowly losing my vision to retinitis pigmentosa, or RP for short. Today's guest is a great one. My guest today is Gracie Benedith-Cane. She is the founder and CEO of Braille Code Inc. She is also an inventor with a patent. We talk about that process in this episode. And she is the mom/momager of her son, Wani, who was born with Septo-Optic Dysplasia, which has affected his optic nerves and his pituitary gland, which also affects his hormone production. But before our conversation begins, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. Make sure that you have followed the podcast on social media. The handle is at See-Through Pod. And if you want bonus and exclusive See-Through Podcast material, make sure to join my Patreon page. You can join the See-Through Few and get exclusive and bonus content over on Patreon. So the link to all that is in the show description. Everyone, you're in for a treat with this episode. This episode really shows the impact a mom can have, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. Here's my conversation with Grace. Gracie Benedith-Cane, welcome to the See-Through Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk to you. You have a lot of cool things going on right now. And, one of them is Braille Code Incorporated or Inc. How about instead of me talking about you, how about I let you talk about you? Can you give everyone listening like an intro about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Grace. I'm a married, proud mom of 3 kids, and 5, 10, and 15. We throw the numbers in. And I am the CEO and founder of Braille Code Inc.
Right on. So what is Braille Code Inc?
Braille Code Inc. is pretty much a business that instills, that wants to instill independence, pride, and inclusion for the blind and visually impaired world.
And the reason that you're involved with the blind and visually impaired world is because you have, a blind son, Wani. I've had guests on in the past who are mothers too. I've had Kate Connor, she has a blind daughter. And, it's kind of always interesting to me to talk to, from the parent's perspective, because it's a completely different perspective than someone who's like personally going through it.
Right.
But because what I find fascinating by it is usually it's like the parent's introduction to the blind and visually impaired world. So then you're learning it through your child. Is that true for you? Very
true. Wani, he's legally blind, actually. He's not blind.
Okay.
He's legally blind. He has color perception, light perception. To this day, we don't know the extent of his condition.
Okay.
But yes, he actually, when I had him is when I feel my life started, to be honest with you. I feel like it started when he came into my world, because he came in, he turned it upside down, right side up. He blew my mind. He amazed me. He gave me gifts outside of him, honestly. Once I had him, I think all my gifts came, or all my blessings came through him.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, that sounds super sweet. I bet you, if your son listened to this, he would enjoy hearing this.
Oh yeah, he knows. He knows. He hears it all the time.
I just thought about that. This is going to be pretty neat because this podcast will live forever. So your son can listen to this when he's, grown man, and he'll have this interview. I think that's cool. I just realized that.
Yes. And he just tells me not to cry because almost every interview I've had, I've cried, I've teared up, you know.
Oh, really?
It's that deep, that passionate for me, you know, who he
Well,
is to me.
if it happens, it happens. You know, I don't think my questions aren't designed for that, but
I get really whispery and my voice gets light. You can't really hear me. So I'm really trying to keep at my, my nice low tone of voice that I have,
yeah.
you know.
And you're also here in Brooklyn, right?
No, no. I actually moved upstate. I'm upstate now.
Okay. But
About a year
I
and a half
saw
ago.
online that you grew up in Brooklyn though.
Oh yes. I'm Brooklyn born, Brooklyn raised, Brooklyn life. I grew up in
Brownsville.
Brownsville,
Okay.
Brooklyn, which is one of the worst neighborhoods in Brooklyn. I lived there till I was about 14, 15. And then my parents, they bought a house in East New York, which is kind of like
Okay.
right next door from Brownsville. And
Okay.
we had the house there. And then then at 25, it's crazy, 15, 25, I moved to Starrett City. I don't know if
Okay.
you're familiar with Starrett
No,
City.
I've never heard of that. I know of Brownsville. I haven't heard of that of Starrett City.
Yeah, Starrett City is just it's a complex. It's
Okay.
privately owned. It's very diverse there, and that's where I really kind of started my single life.
Okay.
25 to about 30, I had Wani around 30, 31, and
Okay.
that's how life started. That's when life really started from there. And then I got
Okay.
married at 35. And then I moved into a one bedroom, like right across the street from my single life apartment. And then a year and a half ago, I moved upstate.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I always like to know where people, grew up and live. I think it can tell a lot about a person,
Oh, yeah.
And is that your parents in the picture behind you?
Oh, God, yes. Those are I put them in every video. Everything I
Okay.
do, I have them there. I just lost my mother last year in
Oh,
April, and I lost my dad in 2015. So I don't have parents in this world anymore, and they are just my angels, and I always have them on my screen. Like they have to be there. Like I actually feel more confident, much more confident seeing my screen and seeing them there. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. It's a great photo. My dad passed last year, so I can relate.
Oh, my
Um,
condolences.
yeah, it's hard,
It's hard.
for sure.
It's hard.
But you know, but let's not get
Yeah.
let's change the subject.
Right. We go on and on with that, with the beauty of who they
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So I'll see online you call yourself a momager. I would like to hear more about that.
Just that Wani is a singer. Wani sings and he loves to sing.
I saw a video of him singing. He sounded great.
Yeah, which one? Which one did you see?
It was on stage somewhere.
That was the one that you saw. It was the Danny Awards. He actually won an award
Yeah.
for singing. Yeah, so
That's
that was
what I
like
saw.
2 months ago, about 2 months
Yes.
ago. Yeah, so me and his music teacher, who's been awesome in our lives since he was 6 years old. He and I, he hears something or I hear something. Look, they're looking for singers here or whatever. Or there's a contest. We put them in and just see what happens. And this time with this one, he won and he went to perform, and it was a beautiful moment. It was a great thing. He got a beautiful like heavy glass award there, and it was moving. It was great. It was so great. So he loves to do that. He is a singer. He loves music and everything. So that's what I do. I actually just we kind of see what's out there and kind of put him out there to perform wherever he fits in, we put him in. And we like to do it mostly because he's a visually impaired child and they really don't get a chance to get into the forefront often. So,
Yeah, and I as his momager, you're helping by putting him in situations, which is great, because sometimes you just need that little push, to.
yeah, but he's He's never nervous.
Oh, really?
He's not a shy kid. He's he is kind of like, he's mellow, but he's not a quiet kid. Like you
Mm-hmm.
ask him a question, he'll go in with you and talk to you. He talks to anyone of any age and could relate with anyone because
Yeah.
he's pretty well-rounded. He's a well-rounded kid. He loves all different types of music. The first thing he will maybe ask you is, what type of music do you listen to? And then he'll go from there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love music too, so I relate to it. Music's my first, it's my favorite art form, honestly. So, Wani was born with septo-optic nerve dysplasia. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. Nice and fancy too.
And I'm trying. To be honest, I had to read it off of my screen here, so if you can probably see my eyes like go to the screen. But, yeah, it's my little secret. I have a little secret list right here. I'm giving away my secret. But so he was born with I won't even repeat it. So septo-optic nerve dysplasia.
You could call it SOD. SOD.
SOD. Okay.
Yeah.
And which affects, from what I've read, I don't know a lot, but it affects your pituitary glands, which kind of affects your hormones productions.
Very, very. That's accurate. So, yes, because of his optic nerve wasn't fully developed, and it also affected the pituitary gland being right next to it. So. He does take medication. I'm so grateful that we live in these United States in that respect, that he has the medication to actually give him what the body doesn't produce.
Okay.
But
if he didn't have these medications, what would be the consequence of that?
His height, things in his hormonal life, which would be right now.
Yeah. So he's a teenager, right?
Yes, he's 15 now.
So yeah, puberty and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Puberty will be affected and things like that. And he's had an endocrinologist since he was 2 months. When we first found out his diagnosis, he was not a diagnosis, but the fact that he was not going to have 100% of his sight.
Yeah.
By the time he was about 11, 12 months, that's when we found the diagnosis after an MRI. It was 2 MRIs he did, and then that's what they came up with. That's what they diagnosed it. Yeah. So, of course, I went for a second opinion, and same thing. Mm-hmm. And he has to actually take two different medications, which I'm assuming is for the rest of his life, to help with the condition. But that's pretty much all that is needed from him at this point. His medication is working well at a very small dosage. Mm-hmm. So we're very grateful for that. And he is at a really good percentile of height and weight. He's growing beautifully, honestly. Yeah. And how tall is
he?
He's 5'3" now.
Okay.
At 15 years, and I'm 5'6", so he's like 3 inches shorter than me, which is amazing. So we actually have an appointment coming up where they're going to check his bones. They're going to do X-ray, and she can give me the exact height that he will be as an adult. His endocrinologist.
Wow, they can tell you that number?
Yes, they can. I was really surprised. She said, when he comes back from camp, you're gonna do the X-ray of his hands, and I'll tell you what his height is gonna be. And I'm like, that's amazing. Technology is crazy. But they know exactly what height he's going to be through his bones.
All right. So when Wani was born, what did you notice first? The optic nerves, or and then did the hormone kind of thing come later? Like, did that knowledge come later, or did you know it all at once when he was born?
No, I didn't know all at once. I remember telling my mom and his dad, like, his eyes were moving very rapidly. He had an nystagmus, and it was moving very rapidly when he was little. I mean, it slowed down throughout the years, but initially very rapid. And now my mother was like, no, it's just, there's nothing wrong with his eyes. Some babies' eyes do that. I said, no, 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 it's not right. I knew, I had an instinct and knew, and I was the only one, not even his doctor. His pediatrician was like, no. I said, turn off the light. You need to put a flashlight in his eyes and see if he's tracking. He's not tracking. So she did that, and she saw that he wasn't tracking. And that's when I went, she gave me an appointment to go see an ophthalmologist. And then the ophthalmologist dilated his eyes, and he was 2 months, little thing, you know. And so checked his eyes, and he just told me he's not going to have 100% of his vision. He has some type of dysplasia.
And that's
like
just
that.
from the optic nerve, which from what I know from talking from previous guests, is kind of what sends the signal from the eyes to the brain. Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's how I found out, and that's when life really started for me. I mean, going to neurologists, ophthalmologists, endocrinologists, psychologists. It was all these other, it was just seeing specialists after specialists to really narrow down what it was. And, you know, most of the time when babies are born this way, there's other things. So for him, it was the pituitary gland.
Well, yeah, it's a journey as a parent. You know, it's like when my mom had me, she knew there was a 50% chance that she would pass down RP to me. And if I have kids, my kids will have a 50% chance. But, you know, in reality, it's like everyone, you know, can have a child with a disability. You know, it's like, so I think people, you know, sleep on that a little bit, you know, and that's kind of why, you know, when it comes to like disabilities and just kind of promoting what I try to promote here on the podcast, you know, it really does, like, you know, affect everyone. And I wanted to talk to you about in regards to like his hormones, because I saw something on your Instagram and I thought it was like a neat story where, and it's going to sound completely random to my listeners, but it's about smell and body odor.
Yes. BO.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was the best BO I've smelled, you know, although it was funky. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was very happy.
Because, you know, it's, you know, body odor is something that you smell, you know, you hit puberty, and, you know, it's, so when you smelt it, knowing that Wani, you know, has taken these medications, that was just like a sign of it working. So you were excited to smell body odor, which is kind of funny.
So, I mean, to smell his funk that day was everything to me. And thank God I never smelled it again. But it was his first initial. It was the first initial. And what's crazy is that I literally the day before, we had an appointment with his endocrinologist, and she was looking at his blood work, and she said, do you smell anything? Does he have any odor under his arms? And I'm like, no, not yet. She said, well, I see a spike here. There's a spike here in the blood work that he's reaching to that point. And I was like, oh, cool. I said, I'll keep a lookout. No problem. You know, so I'm just in the kitchen the next day cooking, and he just walked up to me, and it's like a whoosh, just. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my gosh, Wani, did you smell? He was like, what? I said, smell your underarm. I said, that's it's an odor that you give off that you have to start wearing deodorant. You got to start, you know, using that. It's a sign of puberty. And he wants to grow up so fast. You know how teenagers are. He talks about kid names and stuff. He's been doing that since he was a kid. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, be a kid.
Yeah.
But he was just like, like, we both were so happy that he had a funky smell.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so go and take a shower, and I'm going to show you how to put on the deodorant. It was the best thing ever, because, I mean, you want to have your child be as close to his milestones as possible. And the fact that happened, and I experienced it, I was so happy, you know, because it really shows he's on the right track. He's on the right track. He's growing. He's developing. Puberty's hitting right for him. it was great. It was. I said I had to share that story as funky as it could be, but
Yeah,
it's a great story. Every parent looks forward to those type of things when there is a special need in that child.
definitely.
So
And the way you
it was,
phrased it, I remember you said you need to celebrate the small victories. Those can be the biggest victories, are the small little things.
yeah, it's the best, and to see the development and being a part of it,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, most parents, because I could say it because I've seen the experience, I've seen it, that they really make it about themselves. They make it about themselves a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a huge disservice to the children. It's hard for a child to be the way a parent wants them to be and not accepting them for who they are, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, by accepting Wani for who exactly he is, this is why he's the child that he is. Because
Hmm.
I've accepted him for in all of his in all of who he is.
Yeah, I like how you say that, and I agree. But it's like also too, it's like it's a little bit of acceptance, but it's also pushing too. Like if you accept it as is, you wouldn't go to all these specialists. You wouldn't put in all that energy to figure out and get him on medication and all that. So it's accepting and advocating all at once. And then being in his corner and having his best interests. And I think and as a parent, I'm not a parent. I hope to be a parent one day, but I want to be in my kid's corner. So and I imagine that Wani probably feels so much comfort by knowing that you have his back. You
Oh
know.
man. Yes. He knows it so well to the point that he's like, Mom, he kind of if anything happens, okay, Mom, look, I have to tell you something, but because he knows that I'm ready, I'm always ready to either attack, praise, or
Yeah.
whatever for his betterment. It's always that way, and he's very aware of that. The pride that I have for him, and giving that to parents is so important to give that to parents because it is a devastation when you do find out that something is going on with your child. Me mostly because he was my first child.
Yeah.
It was devastating. It took 2 years to wrap my head around the whole situation. Seriously, 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. My brain, my whole being was in a state of devastation. Like I was really in. I don't even remember a lot of his
Mm.
of his first 2 years because I was on autopilot. I was also seeing doctors. It was just so much going on,
Yeah.
especially when it's unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just want to have your child. You want to make sure they have five fingers, five toes, and is that right? 5 fingers, 5 toes, and you know, be complete.
Yeah.
But then something, you know what I mean? Like you initially see your baby, he's like, oh, great, and then time comes in, and you're like, oh no, something's not right.
Yeah, especially your first child, because it's like
Child, the
you
first
have
child.
it's like you have this whole idea in your mind of how it's
Yes.
gonna go, and then and
Yes.
it goes differently. It takes, like you said, it took you 2 years, but it's like
Yes.
reason why is right. 'Cause you had different expectations, and now you got to wrap your mind around
The
a
reality.
new reality.
Definitely. That's you put it, yeah, that's exactly how it felt. I said to myself, wow, like, okay. And I knew that I had to be a different type of mom. I knew that I remember speaking to his therapist. He had a vision. She said, you have to advocate for your child. It's important to advocate for him, give him everything that he needs. And I knew then, I was like, okay, I gotta really put on my big girl panties, mom panties. Like, get out there and do what you got to do for this child. And I was laser focused after that. And then the beauty of it is that he started to show me himself, and he was starting to show me that he was going to be okay. You know, then we became this dual encouragement with each other. We became this team.
Yeah. I think that's, very well said. I think that ties back into like you accept and advocate,
Yes.
accept. It's like, it's key to do both, especially as a mom, because it's like the world can be unfair, and the world,
Still is.
it still is, and it always will be. But it's like, so sometimes you gotta take matters into your own hands, or else it won't happen,
That's what Braille Code came about.
Yeah.
That's exactly why Braille Code was created, because I didn't see a lot of things that were going to help him
Yeah.
with getting dressed. I didn't see anything out there to show pride as far as the characters in the book. My three blind mice, they're very positive and they're very positive and curious and happy characters as I reclaim them. And I wanted all those things to just be a part of this greatness for blind kids to look to see, and give them that independence to put their clothes on independently. Yeah, so it's all of that. It was the importance. Braille Code to me has been this huge importance of showing the blind and visually impaired world that it could be possible, and let's change things, because the sighted world doesn't really, I feel the sighted world, we're so behind.
Yeah.
It's things that needs to be implemented for the blind and visually impaired to live a little better, to live a little easier, to level out that playing field that we have between sighted and blind and visually impaired. It's not even. There's so many things that's so behind. So it's frustrating for me. I've been frustrated, but I'm fueling it into Braille Code Inc.
Yeah, that's what's awesome, because you took a frustration, and then you, instead of just, posting about it online, or you actually made something, and I always respect, like people actually doing things, and so you talk about Braille Code, that's why you invented it. Can you tell us a little bit more about Braille Code and what exactly it is? And I know you just got a patent.
It's right here. I'll keep it close.
That's exciting. So you are
Yes.
an inventor.
I'm an inventor.
That's amazing.
Yes. And it was God given, to be honest with you. I was a legal secretary for a couple of years.
Okay.
And I had my daughter. I got married, had my daughter, and my daughter was sick, and Wani had a bus strike.
Okay.
All at the same time. And my husband at that time was in the academy. He's a correctional officer. I was about to say construction. Where the hell did that come from? Correctional officer. Okay. And he was in training. He couldn't take off. So I was all over the place, trying to just be a mother and have my 9 to 5. And it came to a halt when they laid me off. And about 3 weeks later, I was sitting in my living room trying to just like, what am I going to do now? What do I do now? And I literally, people don't believe me, but it's the God honest truth. I was looking at my ceiling and I saw patches. I saw patches with Braille inside of it. And I saw clothes. I saw a whole bunch of different things. And it spooked me out, and I was alone. So I couldn't be like, did you see that? And I was like, oh my gosh, now I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to make patches for children to help them get dressed easier. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. It was like a huge light bulb moment. Yeah. And that's when I knew, I said, okay, I got to see what I need to do. And thankfully, I left amicably out the firm. I was able to talk to some patent attorneys there. And they were like, we're too expensive for you. You need, we'll send you to a pro bono type organization. And so I went there. And that's what led me to my patent trajectory. Like, it just led me to the process of that. I went through a couple of attorneys till I got to one, and they made the patent available. They made it patentable.
Yeah. So it sounds
for
like
lack
a
of better.
patent is a lot of work to kind of get one. What's the, for those and myself included who I don't really know much about patents. What's the why is that patent important?
The patent is not strictly, but mostly for protection.
Okay.
Is to protect your creation. Is to protect what you created and keep it for you, for yourself, like to file it into, the United States Patent Office. You file it, and what happens is you have your drawings, you get your drawings made of your idea,
Okay.
and then it goes through a 2-year
Wow.
process. It takes 2 years for a patent to go through, because it goes through examinations and a whole process. It's long drawn, but then while you're actually patenting it, once you actually file it, it's already protected.
Okay.
So it's already in a process of being protected. So it is protected already. Just in case someone saw it and did something, then okay, no, you're infringing on my patent. It's patent pending, and this is what I've done. So those type of things come into
Oh, so
play.
that's what patent pending means. Okay.
Yes, patent pending means that it's in the process of being patented.
Okay.
And I used to like, it's patent
Yeah, yeah,
pending.
yeah.
It's like the coolest thing to
Because like
say.
I hear that all the time, but it's like
Yeah.
I never like put it together that that's what it meant. It's kind of funny.
Right. It's like in the process, protected, but not fully there yet.
Yeah.
So it's pending on that. We're waiting to see, and then the beauty of attorneys is that they do and write extensively on that patent, different ways that patent could be
Okay.
to protect it even more. The more you add to certain things of that patent, it protects it
Yeah.
more. Like, let's say, okay, so we'll see one of the figures here. So this is the right. This is the right label. So it's in print and
Yeah.
Braille. So this is the right label for your for footing, right? For the feet, for the label. And when you get dots like this, that indicates that it could be any shape. It could be circles. It could be the shape of a cloud. It could be anything. This number is dotted like this, is dashed like this because it's interchangeable. It changes from 1 to infinity.
Oh.
The same here with the number sign Braille. This is number sign 1. This also is interchangeable. So they actually have that design for that reason. Color, all of that. So there's this protection of it, overall protection. Like if someone comes and puts a different shape and say it's mine, no,
Yeah.
it's not yours. So it's different things that an attorney comes in to do to add and protect that patent.
Yeah, that's very smart to do. And now you have your patent. It's not patent pending anymore. You now have your patent. You're showing us it. And what's the next step,
Well, the left is patent pending.
Okay.
And that's a whole nother story. Things just went left with the attorney who actually filed this
Oh, really?
one. So yeah, it went horrible. At the end, it was kind of a war, but it things turned out okay, and I was able to file the left patent with another attorney. So now the left one is patent pending. I should get in about 1.5 years. That should come in.
Yeah, it sounds like a complex or it sounds like overly complicated, and probably it should be, but worth it in the end once you have it. All right, so that's really interesting because you're the first person I've had on with a patent. That's very hard to get a patent. It's hard to come up with the original idea that no one else has made. So, congratulations for one.
Thank you.
And what this product would be is, like you said, it's like it helps blind and visually impaired kids or adults, even, right? Anyone.
It's adults, it's kids, it's people who it will work for you regarding someone who doesn't know Braille but knows print. And that's why the letter and number is there. I added that actually into it so that it's for someone who's diabetic, who's going blind. It actually they can't read it, but they can feel that R, they can feel
Yeah.
that L, put their shoes on properly and things like that, and place their shoes wherever they want and find the pairing, of the shoe. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
shoes. You have anything with clothes like or is it just with shoes right
Um,
now?
right now, we're with the shoes, and I'm working on a provisional
Okay.
patent. That's another type of patent. Provisional patent is when you actually write your creation down completely with everything that you know that you want onto this patent, and you file it for a year. So it'll take, you sit it there for a year and make a choice if you want to go
Okay.
on with it. So that's what happens with that. So I'm working on that and working on filing that ASAP actually, and going into the clothing line with directional cues because that's what I had initially anyway. I do have back for the back of the shirt, a back patch in Braille, and then I had color and things like that. We don't know if it's
Yeah.
patentable yet because can't own a
Sure.
color, you can't own a directional cue, but there's a way. This is where the attorney comes in, a way to protect
Okay.
it, be it by materials on it or whatever. I don't know how they work it out and finagle it. I don't know, but they then look at the concept and find a way to protect the concept.
All right. Yeah, I'm learning so much,
Good,
which is good
good.
because that means my listeners are learning too.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, that's awesome. So that again, congrats on that. It's exciting, and
Thank you.
that's cool because that, again, it's taking an idea, taking it to the next level, taking it to the next level, and I'm sure you're gonna keep going and going and going with it. So
Oh
it's gonna
God,
be cool to follow
yes.
your journey with it.
Yes.
And you've also have a children's book, right?
Yeah, it's right here. I'll come prepared. That's my
Right.
children's
Yeah, I love
book.
it. What's this book?
Yeah.
And can you tell everyone about this book?
Oh, it's what's cool about Braille Code School. So I created this book again because I didn't see any characters out there for blind and visually impaired
Yes.
kids, and the book I wrote it when I was pregnant with my last child. So let me just get it in because I don't know if I'll be able to write a book after the baby's born. So yeah, because it's the third child. It's crazy. So I just solely created it because of that. There was no characters out there. And I wanted the characters to be positive and bubbly and smart. The three characters, they're all different, but they're friends navigating through the sighted world. And it's based on the first day of school and them describing themselves to the
Oh, okay.
class of who they are, and their plans and what they like and but their friends just navigating the sighted
Okay.
world.
So it's three friends, first day of school, and
Hmm.
they're all three visually impaired.
No,
One is.
one is no two are blind and one is
Okay.
visually
Okay.
impaired.
Which is cool because
Yeah,
blindness is a spectrum. So that's good that
right,
you're explaining that. And
right.
I love that because especially when you're introducing things like that at such a young age, it's just gonna make things easier for kids to understand, versus trying to learn it later on. Um,
Right.
and probably Wani probably is he go to like a public school?
Well, he was at the Institute for Special Education in the Bronx. He was at the New York Institute, but we just transferred
Mm-hmm.
him up here. We're still in the process of getting him here, and he's going to actually be mainstreamed for the very first time. So this is going to be a very interesting year for me, all
Yeah.
across the board, because the kids are all three of my kids are going
Oh
to new
wow.
schools, and my last child is special needs as well. He has a
Okay.
speech delay, and he's also all going to different schools. And Wani's just going to have a whole nother experience coming this September.
Was Wani's school designed for visually impaired?
Yes. And he's been there since he was 6 years old,
Okay.
5, 6. He's been at that school. That's the only school he's ever known, was for special needs children and visually impaired. It's for low vision, high
Sure.
functioning children. But when I moved up here, I saw the district up here, and it's an awesome district. And once you do have a special needs child, they can furnish everything for that child at that district. They have to furnish your child because he is in your district. So that's where the process now is happening. He was there. Transportation was crazy from upstate
Yeah.
to the Bronx, getting there every day. The commute was the commute was hard, very hard. It was about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, going and coming. It was crazy. And I said, I can't put him through this anymore. He has to stay here. And now I'm so grateful that three of my kids, they're going to be less than 10 minutes away from my home.
That's great. You said mainstream. Does that mean he's going to be
Yes.
in a standard classroom?
Yes. Standard classroom, standard amount of children, about 20,
Yeah.
20 plus kids. He's coming from a class of like 7,
Okay.
8, no more than 7, 8 kids to about
Okay.
20. So it's very drastic, but he will have a para. He'll have someone with him to help him, navigate through the school. He's going to have a vision teacher, therapist, or
Mhm.
O&M, orientation and mobility therapist. And they're just furnishing everything for him. So I just happened to land in the perfect place.
Yeah, see, so this book, I guess where my mind was going was you have this book called What's Cool About Braille Code School. It's designed to kind of introduce these into the classrooms at an early age. Now Wani's going to be in those classrooms. And while, those students in his class didn't have access to a book like yours, he may have to spend more time, explaining himself, to the other students and classmates. But what it sounds like is your goal is by creating these books like this, that it'll help explain it for him and make just everyone more just aware of it.
Lance, that's exactly it. Because what we're doing and what we've done for about 2 years now, we've gone into, well, besides,
Yeah.
the pandemic, we were from 2018 till now, we've been going into sighted schools with the children's book. So Wani explains to the kids the history of Braille, about Louis Braille, everything about that. Then we show them the Braille alphabet, and then we show him how he reads with
Mm-hmm.
his fingers. And then we actually even show cane use, his white cane, how he uses it, what's it for, and it really opens the sighted kids up in ways that they'll never forget the experience. I love that they come out. Wani comes out always the popular kid. Like, everybody think he's the coolest kid ever with this type of
Yeah.
author visits that we do. Because they see him, and sighted kids don't know how to approach a visually impaired child. They don't know what to say. They don't know if he can
Mm-hmm.
speak. It's that, because the cane, when you see a child with a cane, it sparks up a lot of thoughts in your head. We're always being watched when we
Mm-hmm.
walk down the street. People are
Yeah.
always staring all the time. And when we really get around children, they really stare. They're really curious, but they never dare to approach him or anything. And that's what the book does. It opens up that relationship between the two, with hopes that if any child who's sighted sees a visually impaired child, oh, I know that you read Braille. Oh, I know that you use that cane and why you use it. Like, I know a child went into the school. They're informed, and it brings an inclusion. It makes them understand and be more receptive to the child who's visually impaired or
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we do with the book, and it's fun. It's so much fun going to sighted schools, and teaching them that and having them get that spark and understanding. They brighten
Mm-hmm.
up. They love it. They love it. It's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to doing it more. more often
Yeah.
as possible.
How
Yeah.
has your other children, how do they what is their take on, like, how do they feel about, Wani's visual impairment,
Um, Both of them at the same age, when they were about 5. My last one is 5 right now. He wants a walking cane. He wants a white cane. When my daughter was 5, she wanted it. She actually cried about it. And I'm like, you don't need it. But he makes it look so cool that they want
He's the
one,
older brother, he's the role
and both
model.
of his older brother, exactly. And my last one, he walks around with an umbrella, just kind of like shifting the umbrella. He tries to take the white cane from where Wani puts it. He always tries to take it so he can run around with it. I think that they find it cool. They love their
Hmm.
brother, especially my middle child, my daughter. They're like
That's
the
great.
best of friends. They are so, I love their relationship. And I love that there's such a huge
Hmm.
relationship. Siblings, that sibling relationship is so outside of the parent at all.
Yeah, I'm really close with my brother and sister, and I'm the youngest. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and
yeah.
it means a lot. It helps you as an adult, even when you're on your own. Like, we all live in different states, but we still keep in touch, and it's so nice to know that my older brother and older sister have my back. So
Yes,
yeah.
and I see that my daughter, I think she's learned to be so observant
Hmm.
of him. I have this feeling that she's going to work with special needs people
Hmm.
because of him. Because he inspires her. She's so proud of him, and he's so proud of her. Like, they have this really beautiful, loving relationship. But I have it's 6 of us, me
Yeah,
and my siblings. These two had 6 children, which is crazy.
that's a lot.
Yes, a lot. And you would think that we'd be bickering and fighting. We have the most fun when we're together. We are very close, and we joke around, and we
Hmm.
miss them, and we love talking about them. And we try our best to spend as much time. We Zoom, I mean, not, well, FaceTime
Yeah,
as much as possible. And we've done a couple of lives
awesome.
together,
Yeah.
the 6 of us, and it's crazy and it's fun, on my personal page.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a great relationship. The youngest one doesn't. He's starting to talk. He's still in therapy. And he's very rambunctious. He's very different from the other two. So he's just that little brother that's just like, oh, were you that little brother? Like, just, what are you doing? You're just trying to include yourself, and they were like, get out of
Oh, for
here.
sure. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
funny. Like, um, now that we're adults, it's way easier for us to connect. But when I was younger, I mean, me and my brother, we're only we're all 3 years apart.
okay.
So it's I did so much with my brother. Sometimes, he would be forced to hang out with me and things like
Yeah.
that. But for the most part, it was mutual. But there were some times where I knew that,
Yeah, get
he,
out of here.
yeah,
You're,
yeah, yeah,
you're annoying me. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, but he's at the end of the day, they're my 3 guys. They're my 3 guys. They're my 3 gifts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think always wanted a girl.
Hmm.
Always wanted a girl. And when I found out I was having a boy, I was like, okay, fine. But then when I had Wani and then had her, it was just like, oh, I have the package. I'm so happy. This is great. And then the last one was just like, what? Shocking. What? And here he came, and this complete, 3 Musketeers,
Three
beautiful.
Musketeers. I like that.
Yeah, it just feels right. It feels complete. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother has 3 kids now,
Hmm.
and
Is he the oldest?
he's the middle
Oh,
child.
he's the middle. Okay, so your sister's the
Hmm.
oldest.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Usually, of all the dynamics I've seen, even on TV, the daughter's always the middle child, and it's to it's two brothers.
Yeah.
You know, so it's two boys and one girl. You know, combination.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always that one girl who's just the lucky one that she's the only girl, and you know, my daughter's like, oh, I don't need a sister. I'm cool with my brothers. I'm good. So
Yeah, well, that's great. And it seems like it's obvious that family is very important to you, and that importance, you know, being a mom, a momager, you know, advocate, you know, it just comes natural to you. You were going to fight for your kid regardless of, you know, anything. So, you
yeah.
know, and that's beautiful. And I respect it a lot.
Thank
With that said, do you have any advice for, you know, parents, you know, with children who have, you know, let's say visual impairment, a disability, or just anything, you know, that it requires, you know, specific attentions, you know?
I just want to start saying that I believe that you have everything happens for a reason. I'm a believer of that. My father was deaf,
Okay.
but through a sickness, he at 27, 26, he lost his hearing. So he's never heard any of our voices, things like that. And when I had Wani, I was like, okay, I know this life. I know I had a feeling of a special needs life, you know, with through my dad. So I knew that I was equipped to be a mother of this child. Like I knew because I had to defend my dad at times. We had to be an advocate for him. We had to interpret for him, you know, a lot. And then having him, I was like, oh, it feels familiar, you know. And that's why I believe that I then became okay with this situation in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's never been for a parent, what I really want to tell parents is to really set yourself aside as a parent. And what I mean by that is that don't take on your feelings on this situation and put it on this child. I really feel that as a parent, you have to look at this child, love this child, learn this child, and give him everything that they need to hone their purpose in life. Don't make it about yourself. Don't sit around feeling away because your child is not quote unquote normal, quote unquote perfect. I just feel if they set themselves aside and not look at it for what society is going to look at it, because society is always going to have their opinions and their feelings about your child. You have to raise up that child with such confidence. You have to do your job as a parent to focus on this child to make them the best that they can be. The confidence is so important. It's so important. I've been around children who are visually impaired, and I honestly, I'm saying this because of my experience, but of what I've seen in Wani, I have not seen in a lot of other children. Because I really put in the work. I really set my feelings, my thoughts of what people think, and my thought about what people care about. I let all of that go to focus on this child and be everything to him. So that's what I did with him. I actually just became his cheerleader. And when I did that, he really started to show me who he was. He was showing me the best of him because I gave him the best of me.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Oh, that was good. I almost cried, but I'm glad
Hey,
I
you
made
didn't
it through.
cry.
You know, but it's just so real. Like it's the best thing I did was not put my feelings and my emotions into him.
Mm-hmm.
My fears. I did not do that. I really put the best of myself in that child. And and it has come out to be the best thing I've ever done. Like I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of him, and I allowed him to be him. I allowed
Yeah.
him to be Wani, and Wani began to show me who he is in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah. It sounds like you put out positive, energy, and then you received positive energy, and because
Yes.
I feel like, people and kids, they can pick up on, your
They pick it
yeah,
up. It's not that it is that
yeah,
they do pick up on your feelings, your emotions, especially a child who can't see. All they have is that. All they have is that. Even a child, autistic, all the spectrums, they can't really hone certain feelings, but they can feel. They can feel more than we can.
yeah,
And that's what I noticed. Oh God, I didn't want to get into this, but my son, the first 2 years was hard because I was really alone. I was a single mother.
yeah,
It was really me and my mom who were really doing what we had to do for him.
yeah,
And I remember when I met my husband and how they were asking me, his teachers, his therapists, that they saw a change in him.
mm,
And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. I don't understand. Because we got married when he was 3.
yeah,
So we see a change in him. He's a little more open. He's a little more sociable. And I don't know. I said, I don't know why. I don't know why he's different. I don't get it. But it was really that first, my husband came and lightened the load. That was one.
yeah,
But also that because my load was lightened and my life got a little better with getting to know him and having a relationship, he started to feel the difference in me.
ooh,
He felt it because I decided then to become this mother. I decided then after the 2 years to really just change my thoughts, my trajectory, change my fears, and really turn it around. And thankfully, the teachers, the therapists, they all became a part of that in me. And then he started to then change. So after the 2 years of age, he really came out, and then I came out of myself too to become the mother that I am now.
yeah, and that's a very impactful thing to say, and because it's like, as being a single mom, I can only imagine, so that, and then also you're having to go to all these doctor's appointments,
Yes.
and even though you're trying your absolute best to not have any of that stress kind of leak out and have your child pick up on it, sometimes it's just naturally going to come out whether you're even aware of it or not aware of it.
Yeah, it's just the crying. It's, I don't remember crying too much, but it was just like the crying on my own. I did that, let it out,
Yeah,
and then let me get back. Let me get back to mommy mode, and not feeling, oh God, what happened, and feeling sorry for myself.
yeah,
Feel all of that. They really do.
yeah,
Instead of seeing them in the beauty that it is that they are. I think special needs children are a gift. Someone told me that, a pastor has said it recently, that they really are gifts to the world. They really are, because they come with this special gift that makes you appreciate life. It makes you appreciate things in different ways.
yeah, true. I agree with that, because you when you adapt to something like that, I feel like you become more aware of
Here it is.
things that maybe someone else might overlook, because you kind of know
Right.
that when you have a disability, or like for me, I know that I'm losing my vision. If I'm seeing something beautiful, like a nice view of something, I try to like take it in, and I try to truly like appreciate what I see, and I try to take in moments more, and yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I believe that, I think everyone's a gift, and I think you think that too, but I know exactly what you're talking about and what your pastor said.
In the special needs realm,
For sure.
when you see it that way, that they came here to really gift you,
Yeah,
and sometimes even to have you help others,
sure.
because that's what happened to me. Is just he was this vessel of for me to do my mission.
Yeah.
in life. He was this wonderful gift to show to the world, and then when you say about it being an awareness, that's the whole thing, is that I want the sighted world to be aware of our world,
For sure.
make it a little bit more inclusive. We're so behind. There's so much to be done,
Yeah.
and that's my goal in life now, is to really give that awareness to the sighted world, that you have to consider us in the clothes, in the footwear, in supermarkets, in libraries. I could go on.
Yeah.
There's things that I could take my sighted kids to, that I can't take Wani to, because it's not fit for him. And there's many times we've gone through that. We're so unfair for him.
Yeah, and then he has to learn that there's things he can't do, and that's unfortunate because you want him to be able to do anything that he wants to try.
Right, but we do.
Yeah.
We don't do can't at all at home. We don't do any can'ts. We just gonna work around how to make it happen.
Sure.
And that's what we do. We never say, no, you can't do it. No, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure this out. We went to camp. We just dropped him off to camp for 4 weeks.
Okay.
We had to figure out how he's gonna navigate this new room. And we had to repeat where his clothes is. We had to repeat where everything is. It made it easier because I labeled everything, and I labeled most of the things in Braille.
Yeah.
So he knows where certain parts of its clothing is. You place the shoes in a certain spot, he knows to put it right back there.
Yeah.
It's a different world, but we have to work it around to that. But hopefully it'll be conversations where, yeah, we created this so that it's easier for him. He was able to make his bed easily.
Mm-hmm.
He put on, well, Wani dresses himself very well, but there's times he does fumble if he doesn't have the patches and stuff on it. But he gains this independence by furnishing things for him. And I think that's what Braille Code is doing for the world. That's the plan, is to constantly make those changes to make it accessible for him and kids like him and people like him.
Yeah, it's very well said. I like that. No can'ts. It's just how can we do this? I like that.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good mentality to have. And, Wani will take that mentality into his adult years, So
It's exactly
yeah.
right. He does things, and he does it till he cannot. And then he asks for help. But he figures it out first.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell him to do.
That's great. I like that a lot. I like your parenting approach. We covered a lot of ground. This has been an amazing talk, and I want to give you a chance to promote yourself. If you have like an Instagram handle, a website, or is there anything you want to promote?
Yes. Please follow me at Braille Code Inc, Facebook or Instagram. At this point with the patent, I'm going all through the media. Just promoting. For anyone who knows any footwear companies, I'm reaching out to all footwear companies to put these labels put these Braille labels into their footwear. So I'm really seeking out for that, and anyone who knows about that. But follow me and follow the progress of this beautiful Braille Code world here, and what's happening here. Because there's a lot that's coming. Also with the school system, if we're in the New York area and you want us into your schools with our book, What's Cool About Braille Code School, we'll make it possible. You can reach me and DM me anywhere on either Messenger or DM on IG, and I'll respond.
Nice. Yeah. So I'll have a link in the show description, that will take you to, your Instagram, and there you can basically find everything you need with Braille Code. And then for the book, let's say someone wants to purchase a book. Is that for sale?
I'm on Amazon.
Okay.
I am on Amazon, but they're not brailled. If you want a personal Braille book, I have transcribed versions. Okay. As you know, I don't know if you know this, but there are, to transcribe a book, there is no publication or any company that actually could print in Braille and in print.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't exist. So you would have to take an outside source to get your book brailled. And majority of the time, the last time I checked was in 2018, which I'm pretty sure is more. It was $1 a page to transcribe.
It's expensive, yeah.
$1 a page. It's crazy.
Which means, there's less books with Braille out there because it's expensive.
That's why.
Yeah.
Exactly. But there gotta be, I'm hoping and praying in the future, near future, that there will be a company that will really see about having that happen, where they're doing 2-in-1. I don't know. This is just another part of the whole Braille Code mission to get something like that going. I got them transcribed through some teachers who love Wani. They decided to transcribe the book for me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have one. I wouldn't have one to even take to the schools.
Yeah, well, that's good. So Amazon, go buy the book. It's called What's Cool About Braille School. Braille Code School. And yes. I'll have a link, the Amazon link too, in the show description to make that easy for you. So you can buy that. And I really enjoy this conversation.
I think you're so cool. You're so
Thank you.
Cool. You're a cool, laid-back dude. I love it.
I just like talking to people. I like hearing people's stories. And, to be honest, it's like, as someone losing my vision, when I talk to people and hear people's stories, it teaches me, kind of what I'm going to experience, later on in life. And then I've just, through all these talks, it's like the more I learn about it, this whole world, this disability, vision impaired, blindness world, the more the less anxiety I feel about the future, because I feel like knowledge is power, and that's kind of like what your book is doing, that's what your episode's going to do, for anyone listening who's a parent, and I just, I feel like I'm trying to do my part by telling people stories, but I'm also doing it a little bit selfishly because I want to learn about it myself. So
it's the mission. It's your purpose. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's your purpose, because you could have not done this at all. And where would you be? How would you feel? It's for you, but it's also for everyone to get inspired, but it's really your mission for you to prepare yourself for it.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And that's kind of, what you're doing with Braille Code is by advocating for your son, by helping him do what's best for him, you're helping others, and it's kind of cool how that works, right? If you help yourself, you help who's close to you. Right. And then it's going to end up, impacting other people. So,
right.
And my advice,
I found you. I found you.
Yeah.
Like, I like this guy. And just, no, it was something about you. I said, I want to sit and talk with him.
Well, I'm glad you reached out. And I know we had some failed attempts, but hey, it happened.
It's the mother of three life. I'm telling you.
It happens.
Married mother of three. I want to put married because that's another job in itself.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just so glad we made it possible. It's like three's a charm. Here we go. This is the third attempt, and we made it happen.
Yeah. Just like your kids. You got three's the charm.
Yes. Same with you. Three siblings is like, I don't know what that is, but it, I saw you and I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask him, like, what's up? Let's
all right.
Well,
we'll keep in touch, on Instagram and all that. And I'm excited for this episode. I think my listeners will love it. That wraps up this interview. Thanks again for coming on. And like I said, I'm glad we connected.
Likewise. Thank you.